Well, YouTube, I told God that I'd make a video if the sun came back out, and there it goes. It was behind that cloud, and I was at home. Those are the Sisters Mountains. That's Broken Top on the left, South Sister to the right of that, and then Middle Sister and North Sister on the right. If you go way down to the left, it's kind of in the cloud cover, but Mount Bachelor's down that way. That's a big ski resort around here. This is Mount Jefferson. So, that's the tour. Let me get rid of the zoom so I can talk to you. If you can hear the birds behind me, those are red-winged blackbirds. So, the last 2 weeks have been very refreshing and exciting for me. I was out in my neighborhood and I stopped to look at a chair that was on the side of the road, and the guy whose house it was came out, and I started talking to him. Turned out he's a pastor of a local church, and turned into a giant divine appointment. And his church is where I met Tyler Johnson, and Tyler Johnson is who I went to Guatemala with on the Guatemala mission trip. The last year and a half have been rather hard for me because I lost both my parents at the end of the Guatemala mission trip. I got held up at gunpoint, so that really made me kind of like, doesn't make you want to go out and lay hands on people. I mean, unless it's like... So these last, last year plus has been a bit of a struggle. And meeting this guy and going back to that church have been a huge refreshment to me. The first time that I went there last week, he gave a word of knowledge, and he pretty much named my eBay business. And they spoke encouragement over that. And then today I went back. Well, let me rewind a little bit. Last week, a lady that I've met previously taught a class on laying hands on the sick and healing, because she's been on 7 mission trips with Randy Clark. So she taught again this morning, and I'll share the links for those if you're interested. But she's been on 7 mission trips with Randy Clark and planning on an 8th one, I believe, at the end of this year. And she taught on words of knowledge this morning. So today was a real doozy, because I met a guy today that I've never met before in my life, and he looked so much like my dad that it freaked me out. Like his eyes, his nose, his glasses, his hat, like this guy looked like a copy of my dad. You know, they weren't identical, but it was close enough. It was messing me up. And while she was teaching the class, the Lord gave me a word saying that he has a son named Timothy, but this guy's name was Timothy. So when we went up at the end of the class and we're praying for some things and all this stuff, I said, so, we're practicing this word of knowledge thing. Do you have a son named Timothy? And they said, yes, but he's passed on. And as soon as I heard that, I'm looking at him. The guy looks like my dad. He says his son passed on. I think about my dad because I'm basically looking at him almost. And I just get wrecked, like messed up, because it's like, well, my dad's in heaven, your kid's in heaven, they're playing badminton or tennis or something together. And just these last 2 weeks have been a lot of that. A lot of like the Lord speaking to me personally in detailed ways that are unmistakable. And this morning, the Lord used my testimony to reach out to this guy whose other son just recently said that he wants to quit drinking. and I gave my testimony that God delivered me of 10 years of alcohol addiction in a single day. So, with all that said, I want to share some Tom Scarella videos that have really impacted, my kind of thought life, prayer life in the last week or two. And it's about speaking in tongues. Because, speaking in tongues, it says that when we speak in an unknown tongue, we don't speak to men, but we speak to God. That we speak mysteries, that we speak the will of God. You'll have to read the whole chapter. I'm, not going to have to quote all these verses for you. Some people like to debate this kind of thing, but I can tell you from personal experience that I've increased my praying in tongues in the last week or two, and I've seen direct impact on my life. I've seen more words of knowledge. Just a couple days ago, I was at a restaurant with my wife, and the Lord told me that the waitress was a single mother with 3 children. And when I finally got around to asking her if that was right, she said yes, single mother, yes, 3 children. I was so like, wow, about it being right on. I didn't know what to say next. So I just, I tried to share some testimony and how God, knows her life and loves her, and, just wanted to let her know that he knows about her and he cares about her. So, all of this has stirred me back up. It's like it's spring around here, right? I've got cherry blossom trees in my front yard. They're all pink. The whole row, the whole block is pink because of these trees that are only, they only blossom, I don't know, 2 or 3 weeks out of a whole year. So it's really pretty, but it's kind of short. But it's kind of springing up around here, and I feel like my heart is springing too, because I've been in kind of like spiritual winter and spiritual struggle and spiritual hibernation and spiritual not doing so good. So, I'll share those videos about praying in tongues because they were a positive impact on what's been going on in my life. And because of what's been going on at these churches, I was way more bold, way more outgoing with people today. I prayed for a guy at the post office. I prayed for a guy at the grocery store. Things that I have been really reluctant to do probably since Guatemala. And with all these things that have come up, I wanted to ask you a question, because this lady that taught the Word of Knowledge class, she's been on these mission trips with Randy Clark. Randy Clark is someone that I respect, and he's having another mission trip to Brazil in December. And I've been on 4 continents. I've lost count of how many countries. It's 16 or 17 different countries. Some of that with the military, some of that, private travel. Like I went to Israel with my wife, that was private. Just a lot of travel with the military. But out of the 4 continents that I've been to, I've never been to South America. And, I feel like it's kind of incomplete unless I go to South America. So I think Brazil, they've said about these mission trips that, there's more miracles and more healings and all this stuff than they see in a lot of other places. So my question to you is, if I plan a mission trip to Brazil in December, is that something you guys are into? Is that something that you would support me in? And, I also wanted to offer the idea that because the first word of knowledge at this church was about my business being blessed, I wanted to explore the idea of sharing my eBay and Amazon store links, business links, as perhaps a way that you can support funding a mission trip. So I'm kind of exploring the idea I'm having kind of a strong feeling towards this Brazil thing, but it's not set in stone. Like my passport has expired, but that's not hard to fix. It's a December mission trip, so it's in the slower season of my job. And here's kind of the selling point that I was throwing at my wife. If you live your whole life and you get to the end of your life and you are on your, deathbed talking to your great-grandchildren, and they're saying, what did you do in life that excited you, or what did you regret doing in life? Nobody's going to sit around and say, man, I worked my butt off and paid my house off, and that's it. Like, all the stories that I tell that excite me are when I went someplace and saw God do something, and it's like these unique situations where you have to step out of the boat, you have to red-tail hawk. I'm hearing okay, I was hearing stuff and I was trying to figure out, making sure I'm not hearing snakes. It's just sprinklers. So, you don't want to get to the end of your life and have all these regrets, like, well, I didn't do this. I was supposed to be a missionary and I didn't go to Brazil because money, or because, held up at gunpoint in Guatemala, or because fear, or because whatever. I want to do the things that are exciting, that serve God, that reach other people, because nobody's going to get to heaven and say, man, paid that house off. No, they're going to meet people that said, you prayed for me in a post office and my back got healed. You prayed for me in Brazil and my blind eye opened. Or you prayed for me in the hospital and stage 4 cancer left my life. Like, to me, that's the real stuff. Paying a house off, sure, great, awesome. But if that's your only accomplishment in life, that you slaved a 9 to 5 for 30, 40 years, and that's all you have to show for it, that doesn't do it for me. I'm not trashing anybody that, that's what you've done with your life, but what's the eternal value of what you're doing? So, I don't know. I guess I feel peace about what's been said. I feel like that's a good thing, and I'm about to lose the rest of the daylight here. So, Sisters Mountains, Sunset, Jefferson. We're in the sunset of this earthly experience. The sun is setting on the United States. The sun is setting on End Time Bible Prophecy, and the time is coming to a close. Like, if you can't see that they're putting together Mark of the Beast technology, that they're putting together AI technology, image of the beast kind of stuff, that they're putting together one world religion, one world government, like, if you can't see that they're building this stuff, then that's scary, bro. That's the times we're living in, and I understand Jesus come back and suck us on up out of here, go to meet him in the clouds, meet him in the air, but I don't know. I don't think that we have orders to just sit around and do nothing and wait. So think about the person that may or may not hear the message and have their life changed because you're just sitting on a couch watching YouTube instead of going out doing stuff. So, man, I'm sorry it's been so quiet for me, but, sometimes life is hard and you got to bounce back and you got to, regather yourself and you got to, get back in the saddle. There's a verse in the Old Testament that says that a righteous man falls, 7 times, but he gets up 8. I just kind of altered that, paraphrased it, but that's the idea, Don't quit. Keep going. I'm still here, I'm still going, and you should be too. So, it's the sunset on the American dream. It's the sunset on this culture, on this life, it's the sunset. Man. Thanks for hanging around. God bless you.